so my senses is not just about Pathkind. If you look at the industry and how fragmented it is, for anybody and everybody who wants to follow these three things, I think digitization is the buzzword, is the key thing to be done. First, if somebody wants accuracy in reporting. Second, if they want the test to be conducted in a affordable manner. And thirdly, if you want to make your services accessible to the people down to the tier 3, tier 4 levels, I guess it is very, very important to adopt digitization. And I think we should also, be cognizant of the fact that in our country, there are 3-4 things which require immediate reinforcement. One is the manpower. And just to buttress my point, I would tell you that in our country, we have about 125,000 labs and only about 12,500 qualified MD pathologists, biochemists, and microbiologists, and there's a huge gap. So in India, where we have got 17% of world's population residing, with 19% of the disease burden and only 1% lab technicians of the world's population, then there's a huge gap. And the way you can fill it is only through digitization or using usage of, efficient usage of IT. Secondly, the infrastructure is not that great. If we talk about diagnostics per se, about 15% of the labs, they use fully automated platforms, 35% use semi-automated platforms, and the residual, which is a large chunk, about 50% of the labs, they do the work manually. So there again, I think use of technology, use of IT, use of digitization can really help immensely. And lastly, I guess we are one country where we need to pump in more finances. So which means that if we have to make the things cost effective, if we have to make things efficient, I guess the use of digitization, use of technology is imminent. So yes, I think we firmly believe at Pathkind that we have to use digitization in each and every aspect of delivering the diagnostic services, superior quality diagnostic services, and not just at the board level. I guess the company's DNA is such that people at the grassroots also understand the relevance of using technology, the importance of using digitization and everything. Digitization came a little later in our country. If we talk about telecom, the change in telecom, the change that was brought about by telecom was a major one, I would guess. So imagine a country where until the early 90s, the tele density was only about 2.5%, and today it's crossing 100%, means something. It came, the telecom technology came late, but it was a kind of a blessing in disguise because we got the latest things. And if we talk about today, my sense is that we have the best, probably the best network in the world, and at the cheapest rates. So it's all about consumerism. It's all about making the services accessible down to the grassroots. So I feel that while the technology came late, yet in today's time, I think at least in the organized, if we talk about the organized sector, I feel that we are second to none, whether in terms of the pre-analytical work, which means reaching out to the customers, addressing their needs, picking the samples, ferrying the samples to the labs, and then doing the analytical work, which means putting the samples in the machines, running the processes, churning out the report, and then post-analytical, which is delivering the report to the end customers or the patients. So I feel that we are comparable, at least in the organized sector, to the best in the world. Yes, there are bound to be gaps if we talk about the unorganized sector. And as you would be aware about, if we talk about organized sector, it's only about 15-16% of the total diagnostics delivery system, and majority of the labs, about 48% of the labs are pop and mom shops, where probably neither they have the right kind of manpower nor the quality orientation, and also of course there's a dearth of usage of technology and digitization. So I feel that while the organized sector is quite up to the mark, the unorganized sector players have to really come up to speed and start believing in technology, digitization, so that they are able to deliver or dispense the superior quality diagnostics to the customers. Absolutely, I guess you're bang on. We have to, each and everybody will have to have belief in digitization technology. Uh, Digital world is the future, and I feel that they have got, I mean, it has got tremendous power to really change the dynamics, the way the healthcare or diagnostic services are dispensed. So, you know, now if I have to divide again, if I, for the sake of better understanding, if I have to divide the diagnostic services into three segments, one being, the first being the pre-analytical work, which means right from the time one has to acquire the customer, the use of technology can play a very, very big role. So using bulk SMSs, bulk WhatsApp messages, and using the digital marketing like Google AdWords, or the social media, you can reach out to the customers. And after that, and for instance, if you talk about Pathkind, we do a bunch of stuff running the SMS campaigns. We do social media ads. We do the missed call campaigns. We also have a very nice website through which the people can access us. So I feel that once somebody shows the interest, if you're able to reach out to the customer or the end, the patient, once they evince interest in really taking your services, then we have to go a step further. We use what we call as the lead management system, and we use whole lot of AI or artificial intelligence, such as Google Maps. So let's say somebody's sitting in, let's say, a small place called Mau in Uttar Pradesh. Now they want to get our services. Our call center executive sitting in Delhi or in Gurgaon would be able to make out this call is emanating from so and so place in Mau, such and such area in Mau, and the closest collection center or the lab or the phlebotomist can access that customer, reach out to that customer, and get the samples picked from there. Now, one is that. Second is that if you use the technology, I think you are able to take care of a bunch of stuff. One, that the samples once collected can be barcoded, and you can fill the form, what we call as a test requisition form or TRF. It can be filled digitally. The problem around mixing of samples doesn't arise. And then once the sample is picked, not only, and even before that, the customer is able to locate using the GPS and all. The customer is able to locate where the phlebotomist is, or the person who has to collect the sample, where the person is, and at what time the person would be landing at the customer's place. After that, if the sample is given, we as Pathkind are able to see the movement of the sample, how it is being brought in by the phlebotomist to the lab, and then not only that, we are able to ensure that the integrity of the sample is maintained all through the time from where the samples was picked and delivered in the lab. We use temperature loggers, again using AI and all those advanced tools. So I feel that the smaller companies or the larger companies, irrespective, even the standalone labs, should use digital technologies, should use technology which can really augment their work big time. Initially, the investment may be slightly more, but what I feel is that it pays back for itself. One is on the quality side. Second is in terms of reducing the OpEx. So you are able to reduce the workforce, you are able to reduce the manual work considerably. As a result of which, what happens is that brings a lot of benefits to us on the and then on the P&L side. So my sense is that yes, everybody has to use digital technology going forward. For making, again, I'm buttressing the point by saying that we have to make the services accessible. Digital plays a big role for accuracy of result. The first time and every time the customer is coming to us, we can't take cold comfort in the fact that we deliver the report 99.9% accurately. No, to a person which falls in, or two people who are falling that precious 0.1% category, to them the report is wrong 100%. So we have to be very, very correct every time the customer is coming to us, not just the first time. So see, at the back end, typically we use what we call as SAP or any ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning thing. At the front end, which is customer facing, what we use something which is known as LIMS, Lab Information Management System. So let's forget about everything. I think first and foremost is to have a credible lab information management system, which is an interface between the lab and the customers. Now it has got multiple functionalities. So everything is digitized. Even the form which is being filled by the customer is getting captured digitally. The customer's or patient's history is getting captured there. If there is any previous record, it is getting captured. If you have to take a consent, for instance, in as per our laws and policies and guidelines, for any person who's coming to give HIV test, we have to take a consent that the lab is authorized to undertake the test, etc., etc. So for that, also digital. Now people can fill the forms digitally. One is that. Second is that as I mentioned, through the LIMS, one is the information is getting captured. At another level, within the lab, all the instruments which are automated are bidirectionally interfaced with the LIMS. So there's no manual intervention when you are running the tests. The reports get automatically loaded onto the LIMS, and through that the report can be generated. And then using the technology, again, you need not really take the hard copy and send it to all the way to the customers. I guess you can always use WhatsApp, or you can use the emails to send the report. So LIMS is the beginning point as far as I'm concerned. And then you can add on multiple things on top of that. Multiple applications are there, whether it is a phlebotomist application or rider's application, or then you can build maybe 100 things on top of that LIMS, slicing and dicing the data, using analytics and multiple other things. So the potential or the possibilities are humongous, they're enormous. One has to invest in technology, which possibly is which I feel is a one-time investment. If you want to have servers of your own. Another alternative is, or the other alternative is that you can host your data onto cloud, which is not that much capex oriented or capital intensive. So you need not really invest that much. Now, when it comes to talking about margins, so once you have invested in technology, one-time investment, or even if you're going the OpEx manner, or by paying the license fee, or paying the recurring charges, the cloud charges, etc., you can keep down your investment. Now, ROI is a function of investment you have made and the return you are generating on that. So the second element of investment, or ROI, is apart from investment, is the return that you are generating, or which is the margins, as you were alluding to earlier, right? So after having invested in technology, we know that one could use the manpower quite judiciously by reducing the manpower cost, by reducing the cost of other cost on the other side, which is selling, administrative and general expenses, and you can do multiple things. The potential is enormous, as I said. So my take is that once you are able to invest the monies into the right kind of technology, it can bring about multiple savings in the long runs to come. And nowadays, I think you need not really invest in technology, so to say. As I said, these services are being dispensed by various service providers, which you can take on a chargeable basis. So you need not make the one-time investment. You can actually have, you can always, do it on a recurring basis, though you have to pay certain charges, which may, increase your OpEx. But that doesn't really matter. So either which way you look at it, either you have to invest the monies the first time or one time, or you can have that loaded onto in the form of the recurring costs. So usage of technology, usage of digitization, I feel that is going to bring about multiple benefits in the times to come, and it's not going to be a choice anymore. I feel that for the mere fact that one could give the right kind of accuracy in the reports, one could to be absolutely quality conscious people, it is very important that the digital technologies have to be brought into the company of any eminence, or any company who wants to really do a good job. First and foremost, let's understand that cost of diagnosis is only a fraction of cost of treatment. So, I mean, whatever people may think, but a stitch in time saves nine. If one is taking care of one's health on a regular basis through the preventive health checks and wellness, so person may not really fall that sick and may not really end up being in a hospital where the cost of treatment could go, I mean, multifold, as opposed to the cost of diagnosis, which is minuscule. Now, having said this, can we really bring down the cost through digitization? Most certainly, as I was alluding to earlier also. I think cost of, as I said, cost of treatment being very, very high, one has to go in a very, very calibrated manner. One is that preventive health check could be one. Second is that usage of all kind of new technologies, whether it could be POCT and all. So I'll maybe dwell a bit on that. So there are two kind of platforms which are being used. One is the conventional platforms, which are fully automated and are typically good for running bulk tests. And the cost comes down significantly if you're using these high-end equipment, which are, I mean, and just for the sake of brevity's sake of understanding, I'm saying these are conventional platforms. Okay. Second is the point of care technology. Now, where we know that it is very, very difficult for us to post a doctor or post a highly qualified technician, scientific officer, we can use these technologies for the purpose of screening. And if we need some reflex tests to be done, those tests can be brought in from those remote areas to the central labs, right? Now, if using technology, we are able to create a good diagnostics network, picking the samples is easy from location A and bringing it to location B where the lab is, then obviously it makes sense to run the test on the conventional technology because the cost comes down significantly. You're running the test in bulk. But even otherwise, if you feel that no, that is not feasible, time is the essence, and for the bedside treatments, to start to initiate a treatment, immediately, we can use point of care technology, which is another thing which is used rampantly in our country now. And there are multiple examples where we can share with you as to how point of care technology can really make immense difference in the lives of people, especially the ones who need immediate treatment. Quite like medicine, where you've got multiple subspecialties, where it's neurosciences, cardiac sciences, urology, endocrinology. In pathology also, you've got multiple subspecialties. You've got the mundane stuff going on, like what we call as the biochemistry, hematology, immunoassays, serology, and then you've got high-end stuff, which is generally, let's say, for the sake of understanding, we can say, let's say molecular diagnostics tests, molecular biology tests, or for that matter, cytogenetics testing, or high-end modalities like mass spectrometry or flow cytometry, etc., which will be restricted to the larger cities for 2-3 reasons. One, these are expensive. These require large volumes to make commercial sense, and in a small location, it may not really justify, the cost may not justify. Second is the manpower to run these tests or run these modalities. That's very, very limited. We don't have very many people who understand the science, so we have to have experts who are. So sending them all across the countryside may not be possible. And so the point I'm making is that these high-end tests could only be performed in the larger cities. But mind it, about 70 to 80% tests are the ones which are not really that sensitive, which means that you need not really give the results immediately to start the treatment. Now, it could be a case of malignancy. So it's not something which is acute. This is something which you can deliver the results within, let's say, 3-4 days, 5 days, 6 days time, right? Now, that is the best scenario. So you build up, infrastructure in the larger cities for those 5 to 10% of the high-end tests, so that you're able to contain the cost. After all, affordability is also one of the key things, because the paying proclivity in our country of the masses is not that great, right? For that reason, I think let these be there. However, how we can use technology to augment this? So one is, as you would have heard about, and COVID has taught us actually about telemedicine. People were wary of taking the e-consults from the doctors. Not just so telemedicine was actually limited to e-consults, but nowadays telepathology is something which is catching up fast, especially in the areas of histopathology. So slides could be made at the or the blocks could be created. Slides could be made at the remote end, and those could be transmitted using technology, using packs and all. And in the centralized location, the experts could go through that slide and give the results. And we can also create multiple algorithms to kind of eliminate the requirement of the specialist having to do the mundane stuff. So use technology in creating algorithms, use telepathology and multiple other things to ensure that the turnaround time is fast and really the cost is contained. So cost again is mentioning the price. Price is something which has to be contained if we have to make the difference at the grassroots. So first of all, I think technology would aid significantly in reaching out to the customers or to the patients. Not only that, to educate the masses, technology could be used. Just to give you an example, we conduct every month about 18 to 20 webinars or CMEs for the doctors. Even the doctors, they require some understanding around the new tests and technologies which are now available on the diagnostic side. So we conduct these CMEs for the doctors. Similarly, we conduct multiple camps, and these run into hundreds every month, reaching out to the customers or the patients directly, and where we tell them about the virtues of diagnostics, and we use technology to the hilt, right? So one is to make people aware about what is what, the relevance of diagnostics in the overall healthcare scheme. I think technology could be used. Second, I think as you rightly mentioned, we have to create those algorithms using where the data could be sliced and diced. We are able to reach out to the customers proactively, telling them what could be the next course of action that they require to take. So for instance, if we know that the patient's values are deranged on certain parameters, certain chronic conditions, so to say, let's talk about thyroid, let's talk about diabetes, right? So and we know that such people are required to come to the labs periodically to monitor their the parameters. So we are able to reach out to them proactively using algorithms, using technology. Hey, you had come to our lab, would say 3 months back, 6 months back, or a year back. Now is the time for you to again check your your parameters so that you don't fall really sick and end up being in a hospital. So this is what we do. And also, it is important to give them the flavor of the cutting edge technology. So a test could be performed through different, in a different way, using different platforms. So can we, switch over to a technology which is faster, which is more accurate? So depending on what the, paying propensity of a person is, we could always, advise and tell them the virtues of, going for a X test or a Y test or a Z test. So this is what is, we feel that to deliver the right continuum of healthcare and give them the right advice, it is very important to stay connected. And again, we use technology to make people aware. If you go to our website, you will find multiple things, where we share with our customers or the potential customers around the disease and the disease and the tests which are available to kind of test those disease, organ wise or disease wise. So all those things are mentioned on the website also.